Hello, friends. Thank you for joining us today. We are here to celebrate the Worldwide Appeal. This is a special satsang for us because it's a celebration of all the fabulous work that we have done for the past year. But not only that, it is a time for all of us to come together to really talk about what the work has done from the previous year till this year, and what we're looking forward to in the coming year. I wanted to give you some instructions before we get started. We have a presentation for the next 45 minutes, and then we'll also close with a sing-along with the music ministry, with Bhagavati and Ramesha. And you can do that by going back to the landing page that you'll be at. Down below is the Zoom link. Gayatri, who is part of the fundraising team, will also be sending that link out to you. And so if you have any questions, feel free to open into the chat and send us a chat message, and somebody will get back to you. I'd like to invite Jyotish to do the opening prayer before our music starts.
Thank you, Mai. Let's all pray together. Please get centered and feel the energy in your heart, because it's heart energy that drives the world and drives this great work of Ananda. And then feel the connection between your heart and the sending station at the spiritual eye. And connecting those 2 points, let's pray. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, great masters, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Sri Yukteswar, and Paramhansa Yogananda Ji, saints of all religions, we humbly bow to you all. Bless us that we may ever more deeply tune into thy light, to thy joy, to thy comforting presence, and help us be channels to bring that light to others throughout the world. We are fortunate to have found this path, but there are others whose hearts are still yearning. Help us be your hands, your feet, your channels, to reach out with your light and touch every willing soul on the planet. Om. Peace. Amen. We'll have some brief music now.
So this morning when I woke up, we didn't have any power and I thought, wow, how are we going to do a virtual satsang with all of our friends if we have no power? And of course, Divine Mother likes to have fun with us. And so the power came back on, and I said, great, we have power now. Then I get a phone call, and Pranaba, for those of you that know Pranaba, he said, well, I'm very ill and I won't be able to make it today, so let's all hold Pranaba in our thoughts and send him some loving, healing light so that he'll feel better. Now, lucky for me, I get a Hollywood moment because, for those of you that know me, I came from the Los Angeles group, so I get to replace Pranaba, and this is my Hollywood moment. The delightful thing about what Pranaba was going to share with you is how the work of outreach ministries and the ministries have changed in the year that we have been trying to work in this time of a pandemic. And I wanted to share with you that despite all of the challenges that we've had with the closing of the retreat, the meditation retreat, and the expanding light retreat, we've really done a superb job of coming together and helping each other. So the various departments coming together, even though the Expanding Light has closed their physical doors, many of their staff are now serving and helping with the virtual community. Many of them are also volunteering and helping with our fundraising department. So before I give you all the details, I do want to say that there are individuals here that will be talking about what exactly those details are and what they've been doing throughout the year. One of the amazing things that I get to see every day is the communications of all these grateful souls that have been deeply, deeply touched and inspired in a time of deep isolation. And so I want to share with you that the support that you gave, that you continue to give, is just amazing. My heart is just so warmed every time I think about and see the little box that's filled with all of the inspiration that's given every time we receive a donation. And we get hundreds of them, and we get hundreds of messages of how people's lives have changed. One of the things I want to really share with you is the Ananda Meditation App. It is being downloaded and used so many times over. And I bet you didn't know that the Ananda Meditation App is the most comprehensive app out there for meditation. And it's free. Now, yes, other apps are free too, but I guarantee you if you download those and you use it, within a year you're going to have to pay for those services. Whereas the Ananda app, it's there, it's free. And that is the heart and soul of Ananda, is sharing the teachings of Paramhansa Yogananda and Swami Kriyananda. And so I'd like to invite Sagar up to the dais to talk about how the virtual community has been responding to this little shift of how we teach and communicate and work and inspire individuals throughout the world.
Hi everyone, I want to thank you all for joining us. And I am just representing a very big department which shares these teachings online. You all are a part of that department. Many of our communities everybody sharing these teachings online now. And somebody who was familiar with our little meditation group in Dallas, they were telling us that as soon as they had to give up their physical location and go online, they became more dynamic and more active. And I think everybody has seen that with all the departments here at Ananda. I want to share with you a little bit about what the department I work with does. And then I will also be sharing a testimonial because Mai asked us to share testimonials. Now I'm going to bet the testimonial I share will be the best one. Everybody is going to come up and they are going to share testimonials. You'll see why. But talking numbers, one of the main things we do is share the teachings of Kriya Yoga, and where we serviced 250 people in 2019 with lessons in meditation, which is step 1 on the path of Kriya. Last year, we helped 1,100 people. The virtual community, which tries to replicate for those who do not live close to a physical center, all the benefits of living in a physical community. It's almost nearing 400 people now, and so it's the biggest community we have created in the last 50 years, so to speak. When we created the communities, we broke down barriers. Anybody could come to a place like Ananda Village, no matter their religion, as long as their ideals were right. Then we broke it down further. Anybody wanted to come live here, could come live here, no matter their financial situations, no matter their educational qualifications. And finally, with the virtual community, we have broken down the final barrier, which is no matter your country, no matter your location. If you want to be in, you can be in. And so, servicing all these people has required us to expand our ability to serve, and it's been a wonderful opportunity to increase our staff, to increase the number of people who volunteer, who receive the blessing of sharing these teachings with others. We have increased our audience participation in our teacher trainings, in our yoga teacher trainings. We collaborate with the Expanding Light here, which is expanding its light still, but online. And you all are a part of all this that is happening. We are all doing this together, as the testimonial I'm going to read will share with you. But while we have done this, I mean, the main important part of Ananda, or what touches people most, is we are there for the individual. Even though our numbers increase, we are not manufacturing donuts in batches, so to speak. We take care of the individuals, we offer one-on-one support, and our main goal is to make sure everybody who's touched by the vibration of Paramhansa Yogananda can deepen their experience and hopefully in this lifetime become spiritually free. And so coming to the testimonials, yes, I have received many testimonials that testify that people's hearts were touched. They received the teachings in the right way. It testifies also that they found we helped them when they needed financial help. Nobody has been turned away because they could not afford our courses. Just yesterday, I received a testimonial or an email from somebody saying, I'm so happy Ananda offers these courses at a very reasonable price. So this is all possible not just because of me who's standing here in front of the camera and behind the mic. It's because of all of us who are doing this together. So 2021, I hope many, many more people will join this movement as students, as donors, as participants who practice these teachings and dive deep in the vibration of Paramhansa Yogananda. And when we do this, two groups of people are happy. One is the students, but the second is the masters whom we are representing. And so I think somebody else will come and share testimonials from students. I am going to share a testimonial from Paramhansa Yogananda, because when somebody in 1950, they started a meditation group in Sydney of their own volition. Even though there was no internet, all they had was a correspondence course. He wrote them a very touching letter. And I think what he wrote them, all the things he says from his heart, apply to you and I who are making these teachings widely available. So I'm going to get my phone here because thanks to the power outage, I could not do a printout. So as he says here, the good souls he's talking about is you and I. Dear ones, I understand that a new group has started in your city. For us, the city is the world. Through the efforts and work of you good souls. I rejoice upon learning this, for it was my master's wish, Babaji, Lahiri Mahashaya and Sri Yukteswarji, that the self-realization message spread all over the world. You are doing your part in helping their wish to materialize, for they are working through you in thought, thus guiding your actions. It was these masters in whom the same divine consciousness that was in Jesus Christ is manifest, and in whose spirit I dwell, who sent me to America to be instrumental in spreading their message to those who hunger for the love of God. I went from temple to temple in India, from church to church, from creed to creed. But none gave me the spiritual satisfaction I was looking for. It was through my beloved Guru, Sri Yukteswarji, that I found the love of God, who guided me in my practice of Kriya Yoga. It makes me very happy to learn that you, faithful few, hunger for His infinite love also. You were sent on this plane of life to achieve His bountiful love and to serve Him selflessly. This is the only way to liberation, the only way to real happiness. Work for God and meditate about Him every night. During group meetings, meditate with the group members. And when at home, meditate alone or with any other devotee seeking God. Lahiri Mahashaya always stressed group meditation and association with other devotees, following the spiritual path. Associating with people seeking God will strengthen your individual desire to find Him. Meditating with other people will uplift you in your times of spiritual void. That is why group and center work is most necessary in spreading my Master's work. If in any way I can be of service to any of you, please write me, requesting help. Please know that I am with all of you in spirit, regardless of time or distance. God bless you, and may you reap the rich harvest of self-realization in this season of your life. With unceasing blessings, very sincerely yours, Paramhansa Yogananda. So let me invite Devalila now, who takes care of our Kriya Ministries.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Sagar. I serve as Director of Kriya Sangha here at Ananda Village, and I know many of you. And I'm here to share a new resource that we have for Kriya Bonds. It will be launched hopefully within a month. This is our goal. It is part of the Ananda Meditation App. We've found a way to have a password-protected section of the Ananda Meditation App where we can have guided meditations. And just as that letter that Sagar read speaks to, meditating with others, you know, this app, being able to do Kriya with Jyotish, with Devi, with Nayaswamis Jaya, Diana, Maria, Anandi, and others. Devarshi will be on there. There's about 16 guided Kriyas that we've recorded so far, and they're in different sections, different categories. One is reviewing basics, so you can, at any time, on demand, you'll be able to review the basics, all aspects of the Kriya practice. And then there's a section on re-inspiring your Kriya practice, just meditating with someone, 108 Kriyas, you know, a shorter one. There's all different lengths. And then Transcending Karma is another section. So you're going through a challenge and you can't reach somebody. Now you have an app and you can meditate with a Kriyacharya and really get that support. One of the things that Swami Kriyananda said about the path of Kriya is that it's a long distance run, not a sprint. And this app is supporting us in that long distance run. So that is really all I came up here to share. I'm really grateful to have this opportunity to share this great, inspiring support for Kriya Bonds. So bless you. Thank you.
Hello again, friends. You know, obviously this last year has been a very different year for us, for the world. It's been very, very uncertain times that we've been going through. Almost as if we were going down a track, and even though that track was not leading either toward happiness or toward the kinds of goals that humanity wanted to, nonetheless we were going down that track at full speed. And we didn't have the ability, like a little toddler that gets too tired to be able to stop if they're having a bad mood. The world was having a very bad mood and was unable to stop. So Divine Mother had to come in and take us like a toddler and say, okay, you need to take a time out. So we were given a time out in this last year. Now obviously, it was a very, very difficult time for many people. But one of the things that Master said was that the season of failure is the very best time to plant the seeds of success. And so if we think of all the difficulties of this last year, we will simply emphasize the negative and it won't help us. So I have a term for this last year that I don't want to say this is going to be a mantra, but I would like this to be the way that you think of it. 2020 was the year Ananda went viral. Obviously, it's a dual meaning. I don't know. I plague my friends with puns from time to time, but 2020 was the year that Ananda went viral. As Sagar was explaining, and as we have seen throughout our work, during this year we began working in a certain way, and because we had to change to a virtual world, just as everyone else did, we are now serving 2 or 3 or 4 times as many people. Not just from Ananda Village, but in all of our communities and centers all around the world. We are serving so many more people. And when we return to, quote, normal, I think that what we will return to is a hybrid of the times that we are serving through a virtual reality and a virtual community, and also in-person programs. Those two together are going to work hand in hand as we go forward. Now, all of you and all of us are in this together. It was for this time that Babaji and Lahiri and Sri Yukteswar and Master, it was for this time that they incarnated. And as Sagar read that beautiful testimonial from Master, he said he's beyond time and space. And regardless of when he said that or when he wrote that, he is here working through all of us. We are Team Ananda. And through Team Ananda, we're building something that is reaching thousands and thousands of people on a daily level, millions of people on a yearly level. Now, Devi and I, normally we would have been traveling during, not just part, we travel usually about half time. We make a trip to Europe, to India, we travel to all of our communities. Many of you watching this will be living in or around one of our communities. And as you know, we travel to be with you in person every year. But this last year, we've been unable to do that. And lest you think that our workload then diminished, as soon as we started working virtually and doing a lot of meetings through Zoom, you know, one of the problems for Devi and me is that Zoom has no time zones. And so what is night to the yogis in India is day to the worldly man in America. And so if we're doing satsangs for India, it's in the evenings or early morning and so on around the world. That is basically to say that, as Sagar was saying, the barriers of time and space for Ananda's work really have broken down in this last year. What we talked about a couple of years ago, a little bit as an affirmation, is now very, very much a reality. Ananda is now a global work. And along with the global work comes a global responsibility. This is the time for which Master came. These uncertain times are why he brought the teachings that he brought. Yes, to help people find God, but many, many people are so caught up in dealing with life issues that the spiritual search is a little bit behind. So his teachings are so widely rounded and applicable to daily life. It is for these kinds of crises that the path of Kriya Yoga, the path of meditation, and all of the teachings of Paramhansa Yogananda are such a critical thing. Now, in times of crisis, and especially times of global crisis, those who have must share. That's part of our responsibility. And so, those of us who have received the light, received the power, received, the comforting presence of Yogananda and these great teachings, we have now a responsibility, not just it'd be nice, but a true responsibility to be his instruments in helping the world. And we are very, very happy that we've got a big, big team to do that with. And I assure you that you are a part of that team. As Sagar said, we have broken down all barriers. The last barrier is one of individual willingness. It's as simple as this. If you want to be part of the team that spreads light and comfort and joy and Yogananda Master's teachings around the world, then you are part of that team. So we invite you to continue to join us in doing this great work for Master. I know in my heart that Master Swami Kriyananda, looking down from the astral world, are very, very pleased with Ananda, the people of Ananda, and how we have responded to this time of global uncertainty. So let's remember 2020 as the year Ananda went viral. I'd like to now invite Devi to come up and share.
Thank you, Jyotish. Thanks to all the speakers who have gone before me. And thanks to you who are watching and contributing your support and your love and your interest in this work that Masters and our great line of gurus have started. As you all know, this year, as Jyotish mentioned, we haven't traveled in the way we have in the past. And part of what we would do every spring is we would visit the different American communities, mainly on the West Coast they are, and share with them a similar presentation as we're doing with all of you now. And it was always amazing to us because the communities, the various ones, Seattle, Portland, Sacramento, Palo Alto, more recently Los Angeles, they have wonderful, vibrant communities. But what surprised us was after we would do a satsang, people would come up to us and say, "This was our favorite satsang of the year." I thought, wow, why? And they said, we get lots of inspiration locally, but to feel the scope and the breadth of what Ananda is doing beyond our center, it makes us feel a part of something so much bigger. And this is what we all need to do now. It's a time, because of the pandemic and the economic pressure, it's easy to contract into a little world. And now we have to, how do we push back against this? Many of you know the story in 1976 when the big forest fire came and Ananda was burnt to the ground. What was Swami Kriyananda's reaction? not, oh, we better gather the wagons around and make sure everyone's okay here. He said, let's go on a national lecture tour. And he called it the Joy Tours. And he went back and forth across the country giving presentations. He brought a choir with him. But he knew that the solution when the world is pushing back, spread the light, spread the joy, support those things. And that's what Ananda has been doing. And doing it with such, what encourages us is the receptivity of the people that we're serving. And, you know, so many of the people in our different Sangha departments will send us testimonials, and we appreciate them. Kriya has changed my life. I tried and tried to find a good training in Kriya, but it wasn't until I came to Ananda. I wanted to learn how to meditate. It wasn't until I found Ananda. On and on and on with all the different beautiful things that are being spread from Ananda. But we need to understand that there's a mission that is divinely ordained from our line of masters, Babaji, Lahiri, Sri Yukteswar, Master, and then as a beloved disciple, Swami Kriyananda. And that's a unifying the world, breaking down all boundaries. And that's what we see happening also. We've given, and many of our different teachers have given satsangs all over the world. In one weekend we did one for Singapore, and one for a city in India, and one for a city in America. There's no boundaries, and that's the gift of the internet, that we can live that way and we can share that way. But what really breaks down those barriers, it isn't just the technology, but it's the unifying consciousness that every man and woman is my brother and sister. I see no division in race and religion and culture and nationality, that everyone who loves God, who is seeking God, is my brother and sister. And everyone who is not seeking God, who is going headlong into material pursuits, they too are my brother and sister. A world without boundaries. This was the vision that the great ones brought to the world, and your support enables us to do this. We have been in India and seen the work, the amazing work that Ananda is doing in the city of Vrindavan with helping the widows, mothers there, these people who have been cast from their homes, elderly women living on the streets, and now they are loved and cared for. And you just see a heart beating, a divine heart beating that knows no boundaries. Where it sees need or suffering, it reaches out. And we invite you, for your own joy, to help be a part of this, to enrich your own life, enrich the lives of others. It's how it works, always, always. And the ultimate breakdown of boundary is Swami Kriyananda, towards the end of his life, said something so beautiful. He said, I no longer know where Yogananda ends and Kriyananda begins. No boundaries between the guru and disciple. And for all of us, through our practice of this path, through our helping others, through our support of this wonderful Sangha mission, it breaks down the boundaries that the ego puts up that says, no, I'm separate. No, I have to think of myself first. And the more through our actions and thoughts, devotion, service, sadhana, the more the ego begins to dissolve and say, I don't want to be separate anymore. I want to be one with everything. And only then will I find the joy that I am seeking. So we feel that connection with you. Soon I want to invite Mai to come up, and she'll speak after me, and she'll tell you more about the fundraising efforts and specifics. But if you haven't already received, you will receive soon in the mail a beautifully designed and written piece about what we're doing this year. And there'll be a little card, and you can either mail the card back in or just do it, make a donation online. But let's create a world without boundaries, a world that's just filled with the divine love and the divine joy of God. So bless you and thank you. And now Mai will come up and share more specifics.
So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Mai, and I run, well, actually the fundraising department runs all of us. It's such a joy to work for Ananda, and it's such a joy to do my guru's work through the one thing that I know how to do, and that is fundraising. My first event that I attended was in 2008, and that was, I remember Dharma Devi and Narayan came to me and asked me, could you help us organize the Ford event? And I thought, oh, of course, that's right up my alley. I'll be happy to do that. And we all worked together and we organized that event. For those of you that were there, I believe that was probably the first time that I met you. And it was such a joy, and I thought, you know, I could do this. I could do this forever. I could serve Master. And I had no idea that in 10 years' time that I would be here and serving Master and working for him in this way, because it's nothing but fulfilling. And it inspires me that I can travel all around the world and I can knock on any door and there may be an Ananda person. I wanted to share with you today a little testimonial. You may be able to see it on screen, from a woman in the Czech Republic. Oftentimes when we do these types of fundraisers, we ask for inspiration of gratitude from people from around the world that have benefited from Ananda. And this very nice woman, her name is Sabina. And when we reached out to her, she wrote us, and it was a tremendously inspiring story. Her name is Sabina, and she lives in the Czech Republic. She just received Kriya initiation. And she wrote to us. She wanted to share that, and if those of you that can read the testimonial, you'll find that she actually had COVID. And she was so weak from COVID, but she wrote to us and said, she wanted to share that although now she's recovered from COVID, and she had become so ill and so weak with COVID that she could not even do her daily practices of Kriya. Then she recalled these words of Swamiji and repeated them in her heart. I accept whatever comes with an attitude of calm inner freedom. And this helped her feel God's grace and God's love. And so there are people like this from all over the world that are writing to us, that are benefiting from the daily connection that they have with ministers, the daily connections with friends. And she was grateful to have the support of Ananda. What is your donation support? Well, it supports things like the Meditation App, which has this wide reach in the world. Anybody in the world who may have a slight interest in meditation can go there and download the Meditation App and suddenly have a breath of wealth of wisdom and teachings from Swami, from Jyotish and Devi, from just a friend. You can find just about any type of content that's available for the individual to really either, maybe they're just practicing to help them with stress, or they're really looking for that greater teaching, which is Kriya. And as Deva Leela shared with you earlier, we will have a very special section, especially for Kriya. I want to thank all the donors that have supported us last year and the ongoing support that we receive. And I know we will hit all of our goals. Every year I always say, well, I'm really concerned because, it's a really tough year. And last year was a very, very difficult year. Not because of anything that was happening dramatically other than COVID, but from a fundraising perspective and for those of you that know, I'm very in touch with the fundraising community. And everybody was in a panic. But guess what? Divine Mother arrived. She helped nonprofits, not just Ananda, raise more money than they thought they could. They really felt and thought that people in the world will start to retract because of COVID. But no, what ended up happening was those that could give gave more. And those that didn't have a lot to give shared more. It's very interesting because I'll tell you that even though the number of our donations have reduced, and the amount have increased because our donors will write and say, I know that this is a difficult time and I am committed to this work and I am giving you more because I know you need it. And so when a person like me, who has been trained her whole life to fundraise in this very technical and mechanical way, gets to observe and witness these miracles that happen when I get a donor that says, I know you need more than I do, and I'm going to be committed to giving you this because I know this is important to me. And it's so inspiring. It's so inspiring. So I want to thank you, those of you that went that extra mile, those of you that gave more because you understood and you knew that in a time like this, people would be seeking out more. More in terms of support, more in terms of individual phone conversations, emails, classes, workshops, just plain old satsang, chanting, friendships. These are the kinds of things that we can't translate from our numbers. When you work in fundraising, everything is about numbers. Let's measure this, let's measure that. How do we know we're a success? We know we're successful when people write us and say, my life changed. Meditation has changed my life completely. And I stand here to tell you that meditation has changed my life completely. If you would have asked me 10 years ago, would I be living here? No, probably not. But that's that little seed that all of you have made available, that was planted within me, that has now grown. And we ourselves can do that for everybody else that's to come, that will be coming, that is here. And so give what you can. And I thank you. Thank you for supporting us. If you have any questions, Jyoti and Gayatri and Emily and I are here. We'd be happy to talk to you about where your donations go, what does it support, and who does it support? Well, it supports all of us. All of us that seek the inspiration to keep our soul nurtured. So Gayatri is probably sharing the link online. You can, as Devi said, you can fill out that pledge form and send it back to us, or you can do it online. I also encourage you to give a monthly gift, if you can. If you give a monthly gift, it will sustain Ananda's work. Thank you so much. And I really hope I get to see you guys next year, because I really miss that. I really miss sitting with you all and talking and visiting for the weekend. Thank you.
So, I don't know about you, but I was really inspired by this program. It was so beautiful. And I'd like to lead us towards conclusion with a visualization, and then Mai will come up after that and instruct you how to participate then in our sing-along and times in individual contact. So let's do a visualization now. Sit quietly. Try to be centered in your spine. Relax your shoulders. Hold your spine nice and firm. And focus at the spiritual eye. And at the spiritual eye, try to see, or at least imagine, a beautiful golden light. This is the light of God, the sun, the sacred sun of divine consciousness that brings forth all life on earth. And see that light shining down on our planet, Earth, piercing the clouds of delusion, of separation, of negativity and disease. That light disperses all those clouds. And feel and visualize a beautiful garden about to burst. The soil has been tilled, the seeds have been planted, and it's waiting now for that warmth and energy of the sun to activate it. And that garden are the teachings and practices of our path that Master and our great line of gurus brought to this world. And all of Ananda worldwide, through our centers and communities, meditation groups, online classes, they're just trying to plant those seeds. But the light that activates and enlivens those seeds is the light of God that we share when we ask God to bless this world, to bless others. And when we support this work, it all enlivens those seeds and brings them into a beautiful garden of self-realization that people can see and admire and walk in and want to immerse themselves in. So may the light of God that shines within us, that shines within everyone, may that light shine ever more brightly through our commitment to bring its power down to people everywhere. Om, peace. Amen. My.
Well, this concludes our talk portion of the program. But due to popular demand from World Brotherhood Day, many of you were disappointed that we didn't have our interactive section longer. And so I wanted to let you know that within the chat window of the Vimeo, you should be getting a new link that will open up the Zoom interactive section that you can join us at. We will be singing until you can't sing anymore. No, we'll be singing for 20 minutes. And I wanted to tell you that the last time we did this, nobody wanted to leave, and Gayatri and I had to finally say, everybody, we need to go home. But so this time we're going to stay as long as you'd like to stay. So I hope that you will click on that link, and we will see you in a second. Thank you so much, and have a great evening.